There are a ton of dispute letters that you can actually use that are out there online. There's a bunch of them. There's some that are free, some you have to pay for, but just because they're readily available, it doesn't mean that the letters are effective. When you are writing your dispute letters for bankruptcies, you want to make sure that you have an effective dispute letter. You want a great template because you know that you're going to nitpick that bankruptcy and put it on that template letter, and you're going to show everything, and you want your letter to work. So if the template letter itself is not effective, your whole letter is trash. Definitely, if you want, go on my website, fixmycreditnow50.com, but go and check my DIY section out, and you'll see you can get some letters, and you get a bunch of letters. There's a letter vault in there, and it includes an effective bankruptcy letter. And I'm actually going to go over a few letters as we move along in this thing, just to give you guys a visual. When disputing in your bankruptcy, the first way, which is the original way, which is the old school way, I don't think this works at all because I feel it's old, it's outdated. It's just the credit bureaus have got accustomed to people disputing this way, but I still want you to know how to use it in case you decide to use it. Some people still use this method and swear by it. I don't. But first and first, mostly, you want to do an actual dispute letter. So this is a process. This old way is a process, and you want to make sure you have all the steps down, and please make sure you're not missing a beat. If you miss one step here, it's going to prolong this whole experience, and it's already, in my opinion, a long experience either way. This old way, first round, is going to at least take you 90 days. So if you miss the step, this could take a year. Make sure you're following the steps correctly. First, you want to do what's called a 609 letter. You want to write a 609 letter to the credit bureau, and you want to challenge the inaccurate report. Now, I do not use a 609 letter. Again, it's just outdated as far as I'm concerned. Here is a 609 letter. A 609 letter is basically a generic, in my opinion, letter asking the credit bureaus for information regarding the negative account on your credit report, in this case being the bankruptcy. And you're going to give them the basic information and say, this is the bankruptcy, this is the information. And the 609 letter is basically asking for the information regarding that negative item that they have. And they're supposed to supply you with whatever information that you're asking for. As it says here, as per Section 609, they're talking about the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 609. This is a 609 letter asking for information. As per Section 609, I am entitled to see the source of information, which is the original contract that it signed that contains my signature. So if you notice, the verbiage is for a company, it's for your debtor, not for a bankruptcy court. We're going to dig a little deeper into that in a minute. But that's how the verbiage is. This letter might be trash, but it's factual. This is what a 609 letter is created for. It's supposed to support and challenge Section 609. So this is a 609 letter. Now you see 611 letter. It's just basically if the credit bureaus decide to bullshit you and say, oh no, everything's great, this is verified, blah, 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 or they don't answer you, or they act like they don't know who you are. The 611 letter is your follow-up to 609. That's all it is. So all you need to do is keep everything the same and say, hey, following up because I sent this letter last month and you guys didn't do shit. That's all it is. Both letters are, to me, are not effective. Now, remember, I was talking about that signature. Put a pin in that briefly. I did want to show you guys that you can have different types of 609 type letters. So for example, I went on this website, if you want to see Oakview Law Group, and it explains some of the different types of dispute letters. Again, I don't use any of this crap, but the information is correct. It's just not effective. When you are Googling letters and free letters online, you're going to get all the generic 609 letters, the 611 letters, 623 letters, and this just basically explains exactly what I said. So if you want to check it out, feel free. I don't use the 623 letters, but if you do, I don't use any of these letters, but if you want to use it, the 623 letter acts as a last resort to remove an item from a credit report. Feel free to hop online. Now, 611, 609, 623, all of these are under the FCRA. When it comes to those specialized letters, the 609, the 611, the 623, I think it was, it's connected connected to obviously the FCRA. And under the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you have rights. And if you ever want to know what most of your rights are under the FCRA, you can simply go to consumerfinance.gov and check it out. Right here is just a summary. I'll leave it in the description below, and we'll leave the link to consumerfinance.gov. But it's just little snippets. And again, this is very important. This is that pin that I wanted you guys to have mentally in your head. But these are little snippets and points of your rights under the FCRA. I wanted to show you guys something in particular. Consumer reporting agencies must correct or delete inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable information. I'm going to highlight this because this is pretty important. Consumer reporting agencies and what they can and cannot do. They may not report outdated negative information. We're going to highlight this. It says the consumer reporting agencies must correct or delete inaccurate information. The consumer reporting agency is Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. So if this information is inaccurately reporting, I showed you the bankruptcy is inaccurately reporting, and it's unverifiable because the information would come from the original creditor, but there is no creditor in this situation because it is a public entity, which is bankruptcy court. But anyway, the consumer reporting agency must correct, delete any inaccurate information. Therefore, that account should be deleted. However, a consumer reporting agency may continue to report the information if it has verified as accurate. This is the problem that we are going to have with the credit bureaus. It is the credit bureau that is the consumer reporting agency, and they inaccurately reporting your information. The information is incomplete. Your bankruptcy is unverifiable because the bankruptcy court does not report debt to the credit bureau. So instantly, first round, all of your bankruptcies should be deleted, right? Based off of your rights, based off of the consumer rights summary. Consumer reporting agencies, which are the 3Bs, may not report outdated negative information. So it says here, in most cases, a consumer reporting agency may not report negative information that is more than 7 years old or bankruptcies that are more than 10 years old. Do you know how many credit reports I have worked on that had a bankruptcy that was over 7 years and it shouldn't have been, that have been over 10 years and they shouldn't have been? I have a lady, her bankruptcy was discharged 13 years ago and it's still on her credit report. So this is what your letters have to bring up. This is what it has to mention. And those weak ass 609, 611 letters, to me, in my opinion, just aren't hitting and they're not going to be effective. Again, if you feel that that's going to work for you, by all means, but you need strong letters because bankruptcies are very difficult to remove. So you don't want to be soft spoken and begging the bureaus to give you information that they created and used against you and ask them ever so gently for them to give you information. So those are the letters that you should use when you're trying to do your bankruptcy letter. The next step is the bureaus are going to send you a letter within 30 days. So you have to wait your 30 days. They're going to say to you, oh, this debt has been verified. That's a polite way of saying this is fine, go away. What you need to do is write a letter to the bankruptcy court. You don't even want to go back and forth with the bureaus. Let them send that dumbass letter and then you take a copy of it and you write a regular letter to the bankruptcy court. Now this letter should be short and sweet and to the point. So this is just something I just whipped up out the clear blue because again, this really doesn't matter. But you want to take a copy of the letter that the credit bureau sent you, basically brushing you off, saying that this account has been verified. And then you want to write a basic letter to the bankruptcy court. It should say something along this line. It doesn't have to be accurately like this, but this is pretty decent, even though I just pulled it out the air. But it basically says, Dear U.S. Bankruptcy Court of such and such, recently, I reviewed my credit report and I noticed that there were several inaccuracies listed regarding my bankruptcy. When I disputed this account with the credit bureaus, they sent me a letter stating that this account has been verified by you or by your department. Please see the letter as I have included it with this letter to you. Kindly confirm that this account has been verified by this court. Inclusive of their response letter, I have included a stamped envelope. Naturally, put a picture of your ID and all that on there, move forward, but send them this. You got to send the stamped envelope. They're not going to respond. It's just weird, but just do it. It's the old way. just fucking do it. So send that to them. And I wish you the best of luck when you guys do this, because this isn't my twist. I'm not a fan. What's going to happen is after that, what the court is going to do is they're going to let you know in writing, basically saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. We don't report to the credit bureaus. We don't verify anything. What the hell? We have nothing to do with this. This isn't us. No. So now you have to take that letter. And then what do? You take that copy. You take the copy of the letter where the credit bureaus responded brushing you off, saying that this account was verified. You also want to have a copy of when you sent dispute letters to them, if you have that on hand. The point is, you want to create a paper trail against the credit bureaus for the credit bureau. Then you want to write a brand new letter, just a basic letter. It doesn't have to be a letter template. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. Please don't have these long drawn out letters, people, by the way, because nobody's reading that. And it needs to basically say that they lied. This is what happened. You said it was verified. The court said they don't know what the hell you're talking about. I need you to delete this. You're violating my rights. This information is reporting inaccurately, yada, yada, blah, 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 so on and so forth. That's what needs to happen. What's supposed to happen after that is they're supposed to delete the account from your credit report. You basically call them a liar, which they are. Now, I do have some tips I can give you. Now, some people tend to send out dispute letters via certified mail. It's completely optional. You don't have to use it. You don't have to. One of the reasons why they do it is so they can have a tracking number and they can trace the letter and they can start calculating the 30 days and making sure that they respond in 30 days. The bureaus respond in 30 days, that the courts respond in 30 days, that the creditors respond in 30 days. Not, then they can send them another letter saying, oh, you didn't respond. I mean, it's just, I personally don't do it. Good luck if you do, because if I send out every letter that I have via certified mail, I'm going to be broke. Some of my letters are 1 page and some of my letters are 14 pages. I mean, I'm not doing that. Plus, I know you got the mail. You know you got the mail. I know you got the mail. And if you don't exist, then the mail will come back to me. I'm not playing these games with the credit bureaus where I got to pay more money. You know you got the letter. Respond. You got 30 days. If you respond in 20 days, great. If you respond in 35 days, fine. But best believe that 25th day, I already sent another letter out to you. Just how I roll. But if you want to go that way, I mean, by all means, whatever works for you. Now, I've done this method once or twice in my career, and I just realized it just didn't make financial sense. I even have a video back in the day when I used all my letters were certified. It was cute. It was cute. Now, another thing is when you write this letter, you don't want any of your letters to the credit bureaus to sound too perfect. You don't have to be perfect here. You just have to be correct. And if you want to curse them out, curse them out. If you want to have capital letters misspelled, you totally can. Make it as personable as possible, because they'll believe that it came from an individual as opposed to a business, and they're more likely to respond that way. And the last little tip that I have is, remember, please, that every party has 30 days to respond. So you must have patience. The bureaus have 30 days to respond. The creditors have 30 days to respond. Everybody has 30 days to respond. And I know you're super eager to start and get this negative off. And this, I understand that bankruptcy is an eyesore and is holding you back from a lot of things. But the reality is, bankruptcies are not easy to get off, and people have to, at least, if they're doing their job, they have to at least look into their part. Did they mess up? Did you mess up? You have to give them a chance to respond. So have some patience. It will come off. The way I do things it's very effective. Okay. But just have some patience. So that was the old school, old fashioned way of getting bankruptcies off your credit report. Again, it's totally optional if you want to do it this way. I think it's a longer way. I think it's ineffective, but hey, maybe you have the time and the patience and the wherewithal. I personally do not, and neither do my customers. So whatever, but good luck to you. But if you want to know the other way, the more effective way, this is actually the way I personally dispute bankruptcies from a credit report, then check out the next video.